After an extended break, I decided to come back and talk about Hogwarts Legacy. Given the mixed feelings towards the game, I felt compelled to record my thoughts having reached the 50-hour mark. I'm not going to give a huge prelude about how I got into Harry Potter or what I think about the overall series or anything like that. I'm not even going to pretend this video will bring anything new to the table. I just want to share my overall thoughts of the game. The first thing that really impressed me is how well paced the opening 10 or 20 hours were. The game introduces its different mechanics gradually, allowing you to process and test each one before the next one comes along. This development and expansion is a logical way to introduce quite a few moving parts of gameplay that could overwhelm if not handled properly.
What do you have in store for me this time?
Some open world games bombard you with stuff too early, and this can result in players neglecting certain elements that they feel weren't adequately explained or given enough time to breathe. And while I don't want open world games to babysit me, they do need to strike a balance between helpful guidance and making me feel small and insignificant at the start so that it's more rewarding as I develop and get my bearings. I think this is something that Hogwarts Legacy did really well in the opening stages. I know that pacing is kind of dictated by how fast or slow the player goes through the main story, but I always tend to try and take the time to test all elements at once, and in this case leaving the castle every now and again, ignoring the main quest to do other things and level up my character. This helps keep the beating heart of the game world, Hogwarts Castle, continuously interesting. Over time you can come back having learnt ways to get into new areas that were previously inaccessible to you. Slowly revealing how to solve certain puzzles or unlock doors that you had no choice but to skip earlier on adds to the satisfaction of progress. But it's not like the game is always helping you out. For example, the different ways you have to combine spells to solve puzzles, or the fact that some puzzles don't require spells at all, but patience, exploration, or process of elimination. These ASIO platform puzzles and the wooden doors with the gold symbols took me a shamefully long time to figure out. Once I did, it all clicked into place and I went, oh, that's how that works. Puzzles haven't really had that effect on me since the early Resident Evil games. A lot of criticism levelled at the design of Hogwarts Castle is that you don't spend enough time in there as a student and there's not enough of the story taking place within its walls. I think there is value in that argument, I'll explain why in a second, but I don't fully understand what people expected really. You attend classes, you test what you learnt by doing assignments, you brew potions, grow plants, nurture and breed beasts, and although some of this is quite surface level and basic, I find it decent enough to hold my attention and give me the fix that I was expecting from a game in the Harry Potter universe.
Well done. Now, let us put it into practice, shall we?
I guess some sort of actual consequence or punishment system for messing things up or misbehaving would have fleshed it all out more. Perhaps that's what people mean with their disappointment. For example, you could have to manage a timetable of lessons against your free time, getting in trouble and losing level up progress or ability strength if you're late, or being put in detention if caught using something restricted like a potion or dark magic. But there's only so much realism that you can put into a game of this size, and I get the impression that hyper-realistic gameplay wasn't something the developers intended. It's why there's no sleep or rest mechanic, no requirement to feed your character, no ability to interact with the game world beyond a few token animations. But in the castle there's still enough to keep me immersed in other ways, plenty of Easter eggs and hidden secrets to discover that still makes a great place for exploring. Limiting the game world to the castle only would have been fine in a linear game with a single pathway, but in an open world game I think the environment really did need to extend beyond the castle, in my opinion. Let's talk about the Highlands. Another criticism I've seen levelled at the game is that the world beyond the castle is not as interesting. I agree to an extent. Apart from the beaches, everything does kind of look the same, and exploration always results in open this chest and find a new outfit, or find a new wand handle to go with your outfit, or unlock a new stat for your outfit. The caves you can explore might as well not exist at all for all the depth they offer. But then, this isn't Elden Ring or Skyrim, and that's the point. I think why I initially wrote off the exploration aspect as kind of uninteresting is because I was comparing it to other open world games where this is its primary focus. Going, why doesn't the game have this? Or wouldn't it be cool if the game had that? Once I stopped doing that and just accepted the game for what it is, I started to have a lot more fun. This isn't a game about exploring a vast dungeon for hours on end or hunting around for different pieces of legendary armour. Instead, exploration is almost like a series of quick-fire mini-games. To be honest, I don't have a problem with that, because this is where you can really start to set your own pace for the game, bouncing between different activities, combat encounters and puzzles on the way to your next objective, or heading back to the Room of Requirement after each adventure to replenish supplies, unleash a few more pets, or customise the layout some more with a new piece of artwork. Let's be honest, who can't help but smile at this? Look at this guy. In-game travel makes it incredibly easy to do all these activities. Want to get somewhere immediately? Flue powder fireplace. Want to get somewhere quickly, but not miss out on any content or immersion in the game world? Jump on the back of a hippogriff. Want to move faster than running pace but still be able to see things at ground level? Float along on your broom like a demon. Travel is easy and convenient no matter how fast or slow you want to get things done. And let's be honest, leaping off the edge of a cliff and summoning your broom to cushion the fall will never get old. Look, I'm not going to pretend that exploration in this game doesn't have flaws. There's a lot of repetition here, and not just in the visuals. By the way, changing the visuals from Halloweeny to snowy with the seasons is not a sufficient replacement for a lack of environment variety. Simple fetch or rescue quests to fighting a slightly different variation of a core group of enemy types. Even music is repetitive, infrequent, and not all that memorable in my opinion outside of cutscenes. Aside from a couple of random themes associated with a particular area, like the Three Broomsticks pub. I wish there was more interaction with random NPCs as you fly around the place as well. Immersion is pretty surface level at times and often broken by imperfections. The fact that you can just sneak into people's homes, flinging spells around, wolfing down food and stealing stuff without them even acknowledging your presence or telling you off is half hilarious and half irritating. That echoes what I said earlier. There needs to be some sort of punishment for your actions, not necessarily built into quests, but in basic actions.
Sounds perfect.
Why are there so many restrictions in where I can land on my broom as well? What the hell is this giant orange thing that stops me from flying up this mountain? If you didn't want me to go up there, why build it in? This might be fixed in DLCs, I suppose, but to me these things reek of cut content and a slightly unfinished product. It also amazes me that in 2024 we are still dealing with loading screens when travelling between different areas.
I beg your pardon?
In terms of story and characters, I've not really been blown away by any of that. The writing and voice actors are all fine, but that's as far as I'd go. I haven't found myself getting that invested in any of the quests, except for maybe the side story with STEbastian trying to save his sister by using dark magic to undo a curse. That's actually quite interesting. I think I'm in the majority by saying that the decision to make the main character a chosen one was a bad move.
Chosen one! I'm coming!
It would have been far more interesting and original to have a smaller scale story relating to personal relationships, maybe a tragic loss, revenge, some sort of mystery, family rivalry, or professional goal. Having said that, when it comes to the main story, the challenges are incredibly fun, predominantly because they focus on absolutely the best aspect of this game, which I have deliberately saved until last.
I suspect there will be more to this than reading a book.
Your suspicions are correct.
Cave must be somewhere in this maze. I wonder what else is in here.
Combat in Hogwarts Legacy is like a crazy mix between a hack and slash and a fighting game, with the ability to unleash ridiculous combos and take part in pretty chaotic fight sequences. While the combat system can seem simple on the surface, fighting multiple enemies does often result in a spell dodge repeat pattern, which can be used to exploit enemies. There is a unique way to tackle certain enemy varieties that adds an extra dynamic. Some spiders can be set on fire for a follow-up insta-kill, dogbogs can be lynched in place by their tongue, goblins can be disarmed with Expelliarmus and their weapons launched back at them. Combat evolves in different ways too, and while it isn't quite varied enough to justify the runtime of the game, I love how it subverts your expectations as the story progresses. For example, there's this scene where you not only have to fight multiple powerful enemies, but you have to do it with some of them being able to turn invisible. You have to run in and out of a portal in order to reveal and fight them, but then other enemies you are fighting will go invisible as you do it, so you have to think tactically about which enemies to tackle first. It's stressful and brilliant, suddenly adding an unexpected element of risk right when you thought you were getting the hang of things. This wasn't an accident either. The game teaches you early on that some enemies have to be weakened somehow before they can actually start taking your damage. Inferi have to be hit with fire, shields have to be broken with the right coloured spell. The concept lays the foundation for potential future combat encounters, but with slightly new spins on them that I wasn't expecting. I suppose I can summarise by saying that Hogwarts Legacy for 50 hours now has been pretty much excellent overall. There are some poor decisions and elements that don't feel fully fleshed out or may even have been cancelled in development, but overall this is an excellent game that rivals some of my favourites like Skyrim and The Witcher, even adding elements that those games don't have. I might do further videos doing a deeper dive into certain elements of the game. We'll see how this one performs. But anyway, thank you for watching.